My first MSA experience was my freshman year, and it was the first Friday of the year. And after Juma, all of the sisters went to Lake Artemisia, and I didn't know anyone, but it was the beginning of the year, so everybody was just like really into getting to know one another, and it didn't matter if you were new or whatever. And so we all went to Lake Artemisia, and we like walked around the lake, and there was one part where the majority of us we sat in one of the gazebos, and we like went around in a circle, and everybody talked about their name, and either like how did they get their name, or what does their name mean, or a funny story about their name. And that was like my first experience where I just like really got to know everyone, and I felt so included. We were all talking like we had been friends forever. So that was really significant because like that was my first experience.
So I walked in and I saw all the guys there, and I just said salam pretty much, and they were just asking me basically like who I was and stuff like that. And that's pretty cool because it was like a welcoming environment, so I'm grateful for that.
When school first started, freshman year, first day of school, it was during Ramadan. So for iftar that day, we all went to the musalla, and that's where I met, mashallah, my friends that have kept me going throughout my entire college experience. Me, Anisa, Sophia, Amna, Ghazal, Seher, we were all just sitting in the back, having a good time. We're all being the quiet freshmen in the small little corner, and we exchanged our numbers by the end of the night, and we decided we'd be friends. Well, that sounded really corny, but it's true. We decided, we'd be friends for the rest of our college experience, and it's been great, and I love these girls.
So I went to Juma, right? That's what it's called. I went to Juma, I believe it was last semester. And it's something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. Myself, I'm Catholic. I've been raised Catholic. And then I actually like had an exploration of faith and it came back to Catholicism. But at the same time, something I tell some of my friends a lot is that as a Catholic, it's kind of ironic. I think that in a lot of ways, I almost feel like I can relate to the Muslim community in some ways better than the rest of the Christian community. And like, so to actually like go to Juma and just like, just to feel that, you know what I mean? Like, even though that's not the faith and that's not the perspective that I particularly have, like literally, just to feel that spirituality and like, you know what I mean? To just be in that presence and for it to be really the same feeling as going to church, like as going to my own parish on Sunday. I think that was a really, really tight experience. And honestly, something I recommend for everyone who's interested in their own spirituality in general, no matter what their spirituality, no matter what faith they practice. I think that's something that everyone really should at least attempt to do once, if not more, you know.
Welcome back banquet. Yeah, that was my first event. And that's when I met people. And it was interesting because there was a Jewish kid there who was in all of my aerospace classes, and he was introducing me to all the Muslims. So that's when I realized I need to get more involved.
And I love being a part of this group of people where like I can just come to a room and I can just feel like there's family there, and I feel like a lot of people on the outside just miss that, and to be a part of the moving force that does that, and that creates programs and all this other stuff that can hopefully help foster that amongst the Muslim community, not just the MSA, but hopefully extend that to kids who don't feel as, or students rather, who don't feel as enticed by joining the MSA and stuff like that.
I think the thing I like the most about the MSA environment is it's very welcoming. Compared to just going to masjid in my local community, I feel everyone's been a lot more welcoming, a lot more understanding. They understand that I am a college student, and I do collectively we all have our flaws, the pitfalls that we fall in through while being in college. So they see you, and they can see you, and you can see yourself in them. And I feel like that's the best representation, is when you can kind of see yourself in someone else and vice versa. So that's what I would definitely say has been a wonderful asset of becoming involved in MSA.
I like that people listen. If you have a new idea or you want to talk about something or want to learn something through conversation, people listen and people are open to that. Any other social group or academic group I've been a part of, no one wants to listen to you unless you have something like deeply profound to say. But people in the MSA are willing to listen and talk something through.
I didn't like pray regularly at all before I started college, and I thought I just assumed that everyone else did everything properly, and it made me feel worse about myself. But after coming here, I realized that we're all going through the same struggles, so it's kind of more motivation because we all learn from each other. So whatever I do correctly, I know I'm helping someone else, and I just learn from everyone else around me.
I don't know. I feel like when I first started off college, I felt like I was into being more culturally, I guess more culturally aware than religiously aware. Like I maintained my faith and everything, but not like in an outward way at any point. And I really was hesitant on joining the Muslim Student Association for a lot of reasons, but it's helped me get to know a lot of people I feel like I wouldn't have gotten to know if I stayed in the same mindset I started with in college. So it's definitely opened me up to a lot of things, and it's taught me to accept a lot of things about people that I hadn't originally accepted. It's definitely taught me how to love people for what they are, no matter what it is.
It's probably just been, more so than anything, a good environment. It's usually just good people to be around. There's always somebody who gives you good reminders. If nobody comes up to you and says specifically you're doing this wrong or that wrong, but when you see people doing things that that should be right, it kind of makes you think and reflect on what you should be doing right. So that's kind of helps out a lot. It's mainly just an environment. It's more than anything.
It provides me a place to kind of stay grounded in my spirituality and in my Islam. Being on Maryland's campus, Maryland is so big that it's really easy to get wrapped up in this whole college life and doing other things, whether if you're involved with other clubs, which I was. So MSA, I really enjoyed the MSA because it provided me with, a small community that I could call my own. It, gave me friends that that I had a lot in common with outside of these, I don't know, I guess, superficial things. We had a common bond, which was in Islam. And yeah, I mean, it provided me a place to call home. And the MSA and the Musalla became my home away from home.
Personally, I know I wasn't, I guess you could say, too great of a Muslim back in the day, but I think the MSA has brought me closer. It's put things in a lot of perspective, especially for the last year or so. It's really, I haven't been there, but I know I have a place to pray all the time, and it helps me prioritize as well.
First thing is it gives us a place to pray. We have that area. Second thing is it fosters, brotherhood and sisterhood, and that's something there are very few people who can stand completely alone, right? And all of us strive to be that person, but the fact of the matter is most of us are human, and we require other people to help keep us up and keep us right, and the MSA provides that foundation for us, and it's something that you're not going to find anywhere else.
MSA has helped me a lot. It's helped me a great deal. It's got me to kind of dive back into Islam as an individual. I know over the spring break I was reading Islam for Dummies. I know I am Muslim myself. I was born into it, but I feel like there's always more I can learn that I never knew before. I have a notebook kind of now filled with just notes I took from reading of things I never knew before. So that's one thing I would definitely say MSA has helped. It's definitely, reignited my flame to learn more about Islam, to get closer to God, to just understand who I am and where Islam plays and how important of a role Islam plays in my everyday life. And even the life I plan to have in the future, and just how I can still keep Islam but still be the individual that I am and I like to be.
the Ummah after Jummah we did, the very first one, and we were talking about people who are mosqued and unmosqued, because I feel like it brought together a lot of people, and people put themselves out there, put themselves in a vulnerable position, and it gave me a chance to see something from someone else's shoes that I never would have gotten otherwise. And I think people were really, I learned a lot from that event.
I have to say the Muslim monologues, yeah, because it was a really interesting opportunity for insight to my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters who I've never actually gotten to talk to them on that level, or it was really interesting seeing how they viewed the Muslim community around them, and also some of the performances were just really great. Mashallah, we got some excellent talent in this campus. So
most memorable MSA moments have collectively been Brother Tarif's halakas. It's never one instance, but he always has a way of reaching college students, and even myself specifically. He reaches you in a way that makes you think about what Islam means to you as a person in your daily life and your outlook on the world, from the small scale to the large scale.
Moments would have to be the sisters' qiyams that we've had over the years. The qiyam is, we would have a qiyam maybe like once or twice a semester, and it will be one night where all of the sisters or whoever could come would spend the night at someone's house, and it would be a night of like prayer and worship, as well as bonding and fun and sisterhood. And somehow, it was just a really good experience, but somehow we would always end up getting like really, this is so cliche, but we end up getting like really emotional and like crying and all love each other and stuff like that. But yeah, those are the events that drew me closest to the girls in the MSA. So that is something that I will, cherish forever.
If you have Muslim kids, basically, they're not going to have an environment like this. I don't think many Muslim people come to the MSA having a very close-knit community feeling unless they're very involved in their mosque earlier. So I think that this really gives them exposure to Islam as well, because I know a lot of people don't know Muslims outside of school and stuff. So I think that this gives them a lot of exposure and gives them a place, I guess, to fit in if they're having trouble with that as well. So.
I just feel like it's really necessary. Again, just a community of people supporting each other, just in general, whether it's, anything, faith, or even like on the basis of just anything that is just identifying, and especially for people that, when kind of like the general American society is or people that are marginalized by the general American society, I think it's very, very important for those people to come together like under a common banner.